What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the Odd Chopper channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize ever. Great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. Great content that finally got back on track for you last week in the MLB streets. As we progress on, we're just going to keep getting better and better as we accumulate sample size. I feel like that's just the buzzword. And then also somebody got mad at me about saying friends. So I can't say sample size or friend. Need a larger sample size to vet that out. But anyway, check out BetMGM down at the link below if you haven't signed up yet. You want exposure to as many sports books as possible, shopping for the best lines. That is generally the easiest way that you can improve your betting game. If you're not doing it already, you need to be. So there's that. BetMGM, another great place to do that. We also have Odd Chopper down below where you can shop for the best lines every single day. Makes it easy. No matter what state you're in, you're able to group the books you have, that state specifically, and you're able to find the best line every single time. So great stuff over at Odd Chopper as well, plus the premium Discord. Really good times down there. We're getting round robin home runs going. I don't even know who I am anymore. Tuesday started a bad trend for me, but feel good about a lot of the work that we put in last week. Let's continue on with that forward momentum here. A new week. Let's get it going. Producer Jacob, hi, hello. He's a Celtics fan. He's ready to rock here on Monday. Let's get to the picks. Our first game, right out the get-go here, Clark Schmidt, Grayson Rodriguez. We'll say it's like 80 degrees at first pitch in Baltimore. This is a 6:35 start time. Got some humidity coming up into the northeast. And yeah, looks like we're getting some warmer temperatures. We're starting to get into, it's going to be May. May flowers. All those things. I don't know. Yankees went absolutely ballistic against Milwaukee. Again, Milwaukee, I do not believe in as that baseball team, that is for sure. But anyway, Clark Schmidt, Grayson Rodriguez, two pitchers that normally you'd really want to be backing in some capacity. Both of them great strikeout stuff, 26.9% for Clark Schmidt, 28.1% for Grayson Rodriguez. But my big thing is that the righties here, some of the lefties, we are seeing Soto obviously go ballistic. I've bet him like every game, it feels like forever. It's been a good investment. He's good human. Gunnar Henderson, obviously from the left side, Colton Cowser and Cedric Mullins and all these Baltimore guys from the left side. But the wind is blowing towards that, like, it's not green monster, but it's just like that cavern out in left field where it's just so hard to get the ball out of there. And sitting here with the total of 9, juiced a little bit more in some spots, I just don't have a whole lot of interest in this game as is. I would want to bet on offense here. I would need to bet on offense here, but probably just because of the strikeout pedigree of these pitchers, or not even pedigree. Clark Schmidt hasn't been doing it for that long. Grayson Rodriguez has really good stuff, but giving up tons of hard hit. Both of these guys, not great ground ball rates, 33.3% for Grayson. He's a 30.8% fly ball guy. Good Lord, that's troublesome. So going to just probably stay away from this one. Over 9 would be the only thing I'd remotely think about here. So we continue on. Steven Matz and Kenta Maeda up next. And as I'm working through it, Steven Matz is just not good, friends. And Detroit, kind of an interesting split for them because against lefties, I would expect them to absolutely nuke them. Like, there's some lefties that I really, really like here, but Detroit's actually bottom rung 84 WRC plus against lefties here on the season, which is a little bit concerning. However, there's one Tiger specifically that we'll get to next, but Kenta Maeda, just to throw him out there, 32.4% hard hit. I expect him to perform a little bit better than we've seen. 17% K rate isn't great. 1.37 whip. Really not great coming off the season where it was 1.17 there in 21 games. So a lot larger sample size existing there. 3.74 expected ERA. So getting up there in years. He's got some mileage on the tires, but still, we're going to be looking at one thing and one thing only here. I think Mark Canha to hit a home run is like something that I'm just going to throw on the card no matter what. We're going to be getting a pretty decent number on him. 68 batted balls in play, 41.2% hard hit, 354 xWOBA. Again, I need to see price probability. Those are the two things that matter. But Mark Canha, I think we're going to be getting a lot better than plus 400, friends. And that, friends, is my break-even number. And yes, I just had friends twice back-to-back, just to spite whoever it was that said that before. That's it. Next on our boarding walk, an absolute ballistic game broke out on Sunday between these two. They're both pretty terrible baseball teams, but it's always enjoyable to see runs, and well, here you go. How about 17 of those smackers? Actually, it was way more than that. I just had to double check. 12-9 is what it ended up being, 21 runs. I saw that it was like 10-7 where Washington came back after being down 7-0. There's a grand slam by Jazz Chisholm in that first inning. Wild, wild outcome. And now we've got kind of taxed out bullpens to some extent. Jack Irvin and Trevor Rogers. Oh boy. I think this might be another offensive spot to kind of target in some capacity here. And I don't think either bullpens I've actually done a lot of bullpen work. We'll talk about them when we get to St. Louis a little bit more in depth. But Steven Matz, friends, I mean, this is a different pitcher. Jake Irvin, that's who I meant. I was going to say that's the game before. But Jake Irvin taking on Trevor Rogers, 297 expected batting average, 264 expected batting average for Trevor Rogers. These are two pitchers that are just not very good. Jake Irvin, righty, going up against Miami that has some decent enough lefties here, and then vice versa. Trevor Rogers, lefty. He's generally had strikeout stuff in the past, 20.2% so far this season. So if that's going to dip, he's been more effective as a pitcher, 3.78 expected ERA, but I feel pretty confident in saying this is a decent offensive spot to target. Over 8, yes, a key number. Again, 4-4, that goes over. Those are beautiful things. Again, key number 8, like it, over small play. Guy in my life, well, that sounds weird saying it that way. Jonathan Bolin taking on Yariel Rodriguez. I love my wife, just throwing it out there. But Jonathan Bolin, new person pitching baseballs today that I haven't talked about on this program. We saw him for 56 pitches there, 5.34 expected ERA in that start, just a 3 ERA. Again, it's one start. I don't really know how to really judge a whole hell of a lot out of that. So is what it is. Again, that was 2023 that we saw it. Going through his game logs for some of the AAA stuff going into the minors. For 2024, he pitches for the Omaha Storm Chasers. Yeah, Nebraska and Iowa. I hope everybody stayed safe from that tornado. I saw that there was some crazy stuff over there. Again, I'm from South Dakota. We're used to hearing the sirens. It's just always sad to see it come to something. But anyway, so far, decent enough whip here at AAA. I don't have a whole lot of notes about this guy. I don't really think there's a ton to mine out of it. He is probably going to get murdered more times than not. He's got a slider, 4-seamer combo. You work through some of those. I don't think it's going to get a ton of chase. Just really don't. Again, zips and steamer aren't very high on him. So this is a tough spot to be looking at anything to do with Toronto. But Toronto, again, they're baked in as the decent enough favorites. And we've seen Kansas City. They're really good, friends. I mean, they've got a fun lineup. They have for years where they've been a little bit better than what expectations had been. And again, Nelson Velasquez showed up last season. This season, it's kind of been a combo of Maikel Garcia, and Sal Perez is back to being Sal Perez. I mean, if he stays healthy, if they're able to kind of loosen the load on him from the catching responsibilities, life is good for the Kansas City Royals lineup. They're going to be taking on Yariel Rodriguez, who has strikeout stuff, 28.8%, but overall 479 expected slugging, 354 xWOBA, and working through some of his pitch mix. I think he's going to run into problems with guys like Bobby Witt. Most people do run into problems with Bobby Witt, but he was the hero of Friday, coming through in his last at bat to cover the 1.5 total bases. Again, prop exposure, that's something that I'm generally doing a lot more of than just betting individual game sides totals, because again, it's just going to be more profitable long-term. I think you're able to capitalize on inefficiencies in the marketplace a little bit easier. So if OddsJobber interests you, these are kind of the reasons why. But Bobby Witt Jr., friends, this is also from a projection basis, phenomenal. 655 expected slugging, 60.7% hard hit. Don't know how you don't love him against a guy who's giving up tons of contact. In Toronto, 9th inning bump, everything seems good. Give me Bobby Witt for 2+ bases. Anything close to that -110 or better number, we are firing it up. Fire up OddsJobber too, friends. $14.95 weekly, $49.95 monthly. What does that give you? Well, it gives you market-based tools. Again, marketplace. We're talking every single sports book, or in non-legal states, the fantasy optimizers, where you have tons of exposure at Underdog, Prize Picks, great sites to be able to fire up there as well. But $14.95 weekly, friends, $49.95 monthly. You also get the Discord insider access, and that is my premium betting card every single Monday through Friday. That is Isaiah Suarez. That is Ben Raza. That is Greg Ehrenberg, who fired up that beautiful Paul George 5+ threes, 30+ points, Paul life for the people. Great opportunity to jump in, talk bets with some sharp folks, including all of those here at OddsJobber that you know and love. And when you use promo code Lindy, 20% off expert picks, Discord, premium tools, all in one package. Look at that. I can read, and you can go to the comment section down below, friends. Back to the picks we go. Jameson Taillon on the mound going up against Luis Severino and the New York Mets. And yeah, Luis Severino must be punished for his sins. Now, so far this season, some interesting stuff with him. The expected ISO is down both to lefties and to righties. Awesome, but it's been closer to like 200 over the course of the last 2 years. So I do think negative regression is in store for Mr. Luis Severino and a 382 expected slugging. The 40.5% hard hit, 3.8% barrel percentage, they're kind of on different ends of the spectrum there. 40.5 hard hit, a little bit high for what you want. That's 95 plus mile per hour balls put into play, percentage of them. And then the barrel percentage, 3.8% barrel percentage, hitting the barrel, friends. Really good for home run performance and things of that nature. Low number on that so far this season. I expect negative regression. As for Taillon, really interesting stuff on his end of this one. I think he's a pitcher that I'm curious what his K-prop's going to be at. And it's not that I think I want to back him to rack up strikeouts against a New York Mets team that overall doesn't strike out a whole hell of a lot as is. So is what it is. But against righties this season, where did it go? It just disappeared off of my sheet. Of course it did. 21.2%, 21st in baseball. So pretty decent K rate against righties. But for me, Taillon is pitching great. 246 xWOBA, 299 expected slugging, 2.9% barrel percentage. And Justin Steele did talk a little bit, so some stuff on X with him where he's just talking about how he's just locked in right now. Jameson Taillon, that he's got things going as, Justin Steele. Hopefully we can bet on him soon. Hopefully he's coming back here in the near future. But we'll deal with that when we come to it. Speaking of that, another home run play I'm pretty interested in here. Christopher Morel. We've seen some power righty numbers. Again, the expected ISO on Mr. Luis Severino, a little bit higher to righties. I don't want to exactly cross off lefties either. They're going to be phenomenal. 196 expected slugging there. That seems, or X-ISO, excuse me. We got guys like Michael Busch, 606 expected slugging on that side from the left side, but Christopher Morel, 43.4% hard hit, 455 expected slugging, and the biggie, 15.8 degree average launch angle. Him and Michael Busch both getting that ball in the air, friends. That's how you hit home runs. Launch and barrel equals money. Christopher Morel, anything better than plus 380, we're going to have that on the card again. Weather getting nicer up there in the Northeast. What you know about crochet? Well, let's go cross-stitching, crocheting, I don't know. The Chicago White Sox hosting my Twins and running back a matchup that Crochet struggled in last time out. Joe Ryan here on the other side. I'll at least talk about him because he's been a bright spot for the Twins to some extent. 181 expected slugging, 32.8% K rate. Does have that fly ball stuff, but he gets to take on a White Sox lineup that is so bad. It's not even funny. The likes of which 73 WRC plus against right-handed pitching is dead last in baseball by a pretty considerable margin. So we're talking 9 weighted runs created plus. Difference between that and Colorado. Again, 100 is like league average. So 73 is not league average. As for Crochet here, friends, I do think that it was a little bit of a mirage what the Twins were able to do, my Minnesota Twins doing up against Mr. Crochet in that last outing. I think he's probably going to come back with a little bit of vengeance here. 32% K rate on the season, 260 xWOBA. I think he's going to do a good job in a better ballpark. Again, there was some wind blowing out in that spot. And his 6.37 ERA is so bad. He's got a 2.58 expected ERA, the largest discrepancy of qualified pitchers that I have between ERA and expected ERA, just basically putting in valued run, just take the ERA, subtract expected ERA. There you go. Shouldn't be 4 difference between the two, but that's the White Sox fielding for you. That'll hurt. Anyway, Crochet here, friends. This is definitely a guy that we want to be invested in to rack up strikeouts. This 4-seamer slider. I'm going to sneeze. Hold on. You didn't want to hear that. Garrett Crochet, friends, 7+ Ks. I think we're going to see something close to that 6.5 number, but I might have upside for more here. Might be looking at 9 and 10 over at FanDuel. Had some really good prices on some adjusted K props over there. They've been kind of the baseball go-to lately where, again, BetMGM has really good strikeout prop sets where it's like 5.5, 6.5, you're just standard strikeout props. But FanDuel, this is where I'm going to be paying attention. Garrett Crochet, 7, 8, 9 might be a ladder for me in this one. Really like this spot here. Tampa Bay, Ryan Pepiot going up against Bryce Wilson. This is a pitcher I like and a pitcher I don't like. And generally speaking, when starting pitching is such a big part of what we do here, and then just analyzing variance, just accepting that in baseball, the best hitter in the world, Mike Trout, is going to go 0 for 5 against the worst pitcher in the world sometimes. That's just the way things work out. But over a longer sample size, we're going to be right more than we're not backing Ryan Pepiot at these kind of numbers. Again, Tampa Bay, they're not even favored here at the moment. -115 going to Bryce Wilson, and I just don't see it. 482 expected slugging for Wilson, 10% barrel percentage, 340 xWOBA. I said it again. Well, I said it last week a lot, and I'll say it again here this week. I expect these WRC numbers against righties for Milwaukee to plummet. They're at 121 WRC plus. It is such a mirage, and I know that they just found ways to put up runs again here, going up against the Yankees and such, but this is just not something that I think is going to be sustainable. William Contreras is out of his mind. Gary Sanchez, 613 expected slugging, is out of his mind. Blake Perkins, and Parks and Rec, that makes me think of it every single time. Willie Thomas, Rhys Hoskins, they've got some guys, but again, I don't see them being the third or fourth best offense in baseball against righties come season's end. Ryan Pepiot, though, this is a really good pitcher here going up against him. 211 expected batting average, 28.2% K rate. Does have the fly ball tendencies, which freaks me out a little bit, which is not going to shove this into the lock category like our next play. But in this spot, you give me Tampa Bay on the road right here. This is a good offense that I think eventually is going to start putting the pieces together. A 105 WRC plus against righties. Bryce Wilson ain't that in a bag of potato chips. Yeah, just bet Tampa. Minus 105. Come on now. Let's Tampa Bay should be favored here ever so slightly. That is my belief, and I'm sticking to it. My favorite spot on the board here, and a little bit surprising. We've had a lot of locks on plays that, I mean, I wish I could give you more prop locks the night before, but that's kind of the way that it's always been here doing the baseball streets. I know a lot of you, you're going to get closing line value if you jump in on this right now, because I see no way, no possibility that Philadelphia isn't the best money line play on the board here. This should be north of minus 150, minus 155 based on these two offenses and the starting pitchers that we have going today. Christopher Sanchez here, the lefty on the mound, has been incredible for Philly. Philly has another arm that they should be very, very happy to have. 2.72 expected ERA so far this season. Does have a 10% walk rate, which is up from his 4% walk rate last season, but I think maybe somewhere in the middle is where we're going to land. He had an 11.9 to 9.6% walk rate in his two previous seasons out of the pen. And then again, last season stretched out, 3.74 expected ERA, 2.72 so far this season in a couple of starts. But guys, the K rate is starting to trail back up here now, 25.5% K rate thus far. He gets to go up against an Angels offense. It's a scary ballpark, no doubt about it. Scary top of this lineup at times, depending on, it's Mike Trout in the ninth inning with 2 outs. Some of you understand that joke. Some of you don't. I feel like I've seen a lot of Mike Trout at bats with 2 outs where it just has not gone very well for him so far this season. Just at the end of games, for what it's worth. He's still Mike Trout. Let's be serious. But the LA Angels, friends, 23.1% K rate against left-handed pitching so far this season. 105 WRC plus. I think that's going to be about where they're at. They do have a decent enough profile. If Joe Adell continues to do Joe Adell things, this is somebody that I've waited for a breakout for a very, very, very long time. But Griffin Canning is the guy on the other side of this one, and I just don't think he's good in any way, shape, or form. 494 expected slugging, 349 xWOBA, 9.9% barrel percentage. Now, he's had a worse start than he had over the course of a larger sample last year. 4.01 expected ERA in 2023, 4.86 so far this season. But he has been a over 4 expected ERA guy his entire major league career. He comes off of a hard hit of 44.2%, the highest mark of his entire career in 2023. And the fact that the K rate has dropped off this far, 25.9% to 18.2%, if you're not getting swing and miss against the lefties here, you're in deep shit. And I really don't see it because there is one of the most noticeable velocity dips in baseball existing with Griffin Canning. Nearly 2 miles per hour off of his fastball from 2023 to 2024. I'm telling you, I'm going to look at home run props in a short right porch here when they lowered that line down there over in Angel Stadium. I'm going to be looking at everything that I possibly can for this game outside of just Philly money line. But for the time being, Philly money line is a lock here. We can get it at minus 140. This thing is going to close north of minus 150, I would think. This is just a bad number at the moment. So take advantage. Huge pitching discrepancy, the better lineup, and probably going to be more Philly fans in Anaheim. And you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Just bet the Phillies. Goodbye. First bet safety net, friends, up to $1,500. You sign up the link down below for BetMGM. Get your bonus bets if your first bet loses. So if that's $200 that you deposit there, $300, or hey, $50, doesn't matter what it is. You deposit at the link below. Get yourself that money back in bonus bets if it loses. And if it wins, keep that money, honey. Good stuff with BetMGM. Only if you're 21 and over. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Back to the picks we go. Wish there was something to mine out here, but really nothing at the moment. Atlanta, Seattle, Max Fried really looked good last time out. A lot of people are going to look good against, I think it was Oakland that he went up against. Let me double check because I was working through specific numbers and, obviously recency bias can be a thing. You try not to just look at what they did last start, except for velocity numbers, which I always do because that's just the good little boy that I am. Anywho, Miami is who it was. I don't know why my brain said Oakland. 1.38 whip in that spot. Oh, no. 6 strikeouts, 9 innings pitched, complete game shutout. 3 hits. Now, it is Miami, so let's take that with a grain of salt. I think that's going to be one of the things that freaks me out about this spot is Seattle, feast or famine. They have strikeouts available in that lineup. 24.3% against lefties on the season, 93 WRC plus, but 132 ISO, I think there's room for that to grow. There's going to be a decent enough righties. I mean, Julio Rodriguez, we're going to get going here sooner rather than later, sir. You're going to get going, and it's going to be just night for some people. Ty France has been awesome, 509 expected slugging, 53% hard hit. Cal Raleigh, 55% hard hit. Again, obviously can hit from both sides of it there. Does neutralize some of these lefties that have been coming up here, but Dylan Moore should be in this lineup, 44% hard hit, huge loft. Going to look at some home run props potentially, even though Max Fried really good with that hard hit, 25.9%. Bryce Miller on the other side is getting swing and miss, 26%, but everything else is pretty freaky here. 15.5% barrel percentage. That's a zesty rate up there. 4.74 expected ERA is actually down from last season. So there's stuff working for and against this one. I think what I might end up doing is I might just end up throwing the under of 7.5 with the Atlanta money line. Again, it's freaky though. And it's just what I'm thinking about here and trying to find something to back Max Fried at some kind of a price that makes sense. Obviously that gives me a couple of runs there on the Braves side for if they just completely destroy Bryce Miller, which wouldn't surprise me. But we know how good of a pitcher's ballpark it is up there at T-Mobile. So probably end up staying away from this game, but really wish I didn't have to. 3 games to go. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell as we go to a game that I'm actually surprised my sheet doesn't like because Nick Lodolo, I love because that curveball, friends, and his ability to generate swing and miss. I think this has more to do with what we're seeing here from this San Diego line early in the season because, well, 17.9% K rate against lefties, 92 WRC plus. 92 WRC plus isn't much there, but we're going to see guys like Tatis and Machado and Profar and even Merrill left on left. Like, there's some good hitters that exist in this lineup. It's just a question of, this ballpark can play a little bit long. Nick Lodolo out of Cincinnati. I don't know. I'm just surprised that this isn't on the card for me. I thought I would be ending up backing Cincy. Been at -110 here, but Matt Waldron, 31.3% hard hit is nifty. 448 expected slugging and 10% barrel percentage is not. I don't really like a lot of what Matt Waldron does. 4.48 expected ERA last season. He throws this knuckleball a lot of the time. That's his primary pitch, 35%. It's always so hard for me to judge them because there's only a couple that exist in baseball at any given time. And when it's on, it's on. It's been good so far. 147 batting average against, by far his best pitch. But anything else he's throwing, if he's not locating that, you can get yourself in some serious trouble. Again, it's a range of outcomes thing, so I'm not going to freak out too much, but guess I'm staying away from Cincy money line, even though I really wanted to play this. I think we got enough other plays on the card. Such as this one, if you made me pick another lock, again, this is a like, I'm only going to put a half unit on it, but if you made me pick my second favorite player on the board, I think this is it. We've got the Dodgers, we've got Arizona, and it's not going to be on the Dodgers side of things, -145 or -1.5 or anything you want to look at, mainly because I don't know what I think about James Paxton at the moment. He's been by far the worst starter for the Dodgers, 12.4% K rate, 19.1% K rate. 19.1% walk rate. Good Lord, it's so horrendous there, but fastball velocity's down 0.5 mile per hour. The strikeouts aren't there in any way, shape, or form. You go through some of the spin. The spin is way down on the four-seamer, nearly 75 75 RPMs, nearly 80 RPMs from the four-seamer in 2023 to the four-seamer that it currently is in 2024. He is 35. He's just not throwing with any velocity. He is going to get hit up sooner rather than later, and I think this is a really bad price trying to back the Dodgers, but I'm also not going to be going up against Arizona and Tyler Henry and backing them because it's the freaking Dodgers on the other side. Tommy Henry, 482 expected slugging himself, 358 xWOBA. These are both very confident, well, they're confident too, but competent offenses against left-handed pitching. We're going to see the Dodgers continue to climb. They're 10th in baseball, 114 WRC plus against, only a 19.3% K rate against that side of it too. Again, small sample size, don't want to freak out too much about it, but Arizona, number 1 in baseball against lefties, 142 WRC plus. Holy crap, I love this play. And again, I think if this were sitting with a little bit better price, I would probably be locking this and throwing it in as a second one. But over 10, I just want you to know I really, really, really like it. And again, a little surprised that, you know, I guess caution's the better part of valor sometimes, or whatever the shit that means. Over 10, we like it. And our last play of the game here, I'm going to get on a nice tight under 30 here on Monday. Way to go, Eric. That's what we're gearing for. I know a lot of people have things to do. You want the plays, but I also want to give you information. If you really, really just want to get the plays, jump in the premium Discord. I'm going to fire up the plays. Obviously, I'll adjust it for price as the day goes on because I don't want you backing a team that, you know, is 10, 15 cents difference, because that can be the difference between a play and not a play. Again, 25-cent difference on something could be something between being a play and then betting the other side because there's value there now. Again, we always want to be sensitive to price. Probability, price, continuing on. Anyway, that being said, Bailey Falter going up against Joe Boyle rules. We're not going to pick on Joe Boyle, are we? No, we're not. In fact, I think Oakland money line would be the value side of this one at plus 110. We've seen them get in some offensive just ridiculousness at times. I mean, we saw it against Baltimore, and now they're traveling back to Oakland, and Lawrence Butler at the top of this lineup going up against Bailey Falter. Well, probably left on left. They're probably not going to do that. Very curious to see the way this lineup rolls out on the Oakland side for my dynasty team, also for betting purposes to try to get some value, maybe get some unders on some hit props if things are different with Lawrence Butler. Again, he's probably going to crack the lineup. He's been hitting the ball too hard. But anyway, Bailey Falter, you know I don't like him at this point in time too much. But the sliders being decent for him, 57% usage on the four-seamer, and that fastball run value is really, really good on Baseball Savant for the people who care. Joe Boyle, 367 expected slugging, though. 15.5% walk rate. I expect positive regression. Just been a good pitcher. It's a good ballpark. I think I'd be looking at the value side on Oakland, but probably going to pass. And that does it for another edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. You know what to do. Go to that comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays that exist on the board for this lovely little 12-gamer, I believe, that we have before us. Let me double-check my work. 12 games. Yes, I can count. Congratulations to me. Thank you, Producer Jacob. I can always count on you. I'm out of here, guys. BetMGM, check them out. OddsShopper, check that out as well here. I think that's it. I'm Eric Lindquist, friends. Best of luck in the MLB streets on Monday.